guys are watching the Cowboys Report. Some super thanks we got to get to here on today's show from CJ DeYoung. All this team has been for the last 30 years, minus the Dez catch, no catch fiasco. It's been hype. I don't believe anything the Jones boys say. Thank you. CJ, I get where you are coming from. They've had chances in the postseason, and they have not delivered for about 30 years. And it's not quite fair, but also kind of is fair to an extent. Kind of all gets heaped on this team. Now, as you points out, that's a front office ownership issue, but it is a mounting frustration thing for us as fans overall. CJ III also says he was like number 69 on a recent video. First off, everyone type nice in the comment section. And also, if you're wondering, what are these super thanks? It is a feature here on YouTube. YouTube's obviously got the super chat feature on live shows. Super thanks are the on-demand feature. We always give shout-outs when the live shows, when super chats happen. We'll do the exact same thing on the super thanks side. Any super thanks, even if it just says F you, Tom, will get a shout-out. We might not spend as much time on that one, but we'll give you a shout-out no matter what. For Marcus Arnold, what do you think about trading Schoonmaker to the Chargers for a 4th and a 6th round pick? So I like the creativity of going to the Chargers, since there's the Jim Harbaugh-Michigan connection, right? They don't have a gaping hole at tight end, but they also don't have, I think, a super clear-cut long-term guy. In theory, Schoonmaker fits what they want to do because it'll be the Jim Harbaugh-led offense. My issue here is I don't know what Schoonmaker's value is. He wasn't very good in year one. He was, if we're being honest, a bit of a reach pick at the time. Cowboys wanted a tight end. The board didn't go their way. They kind of panicked a little bit. He's older than Jake Ferguson is. 4th and a 6th kind of sounds fair. And there's also the whole sunken cost fallacy from Dallas's perspective. Would they take a 2nd-round pick and get a 4th and a 6th back a year and a half later? I don't hate the idea. I also don't know if that is even worth his value right now because it's you're selling as low as possible. CJ DeYoung III again. Okay, this will be unpopular, Tom. I'm sorry. But Micah hasn't done anything in the NFL to have an ego about. It's a team sport. Where the F was he in the 49ers game? As far as talk about leadership goes, he's not a leader, just a talker. It might be unpopular. I think there's been some public sway against Micah Parsons as of late. He has done things to have an ego. He's had some of the most sacks to begin his NFL career. In terms of the results that we care about come January and hopefully at some point into February, there's not much to hang your hat on there. My issue for Micah, and it is voluntary for OTs, I think that's really what's causing the main stink about this stuff here, is that he went out and made the comment, I want to change the culture. My next step is as a leader. Great. I don't think you can lead and not be at OTAs. And alarm bells went off in my head when I saw Dak Prescott straight up say, I told Micah I wish he was here. Dak never says that stuff. And now if it was contractually related for Micah, I think a lot of us would have been more on his side the same way we are more so with CeeDee Lamb. If he didn't make the leadership comments, okay. Not everybody has to be a leader. That's okay. If you want to go train on your own, that's fine. But I think what was said versus the actions didn't necessarily match up. Although he's a superstar caliber player, and it's really, really hard to find a playmaker of his caliber as a pass rusher. That's one of those guys, kind of like Charles Haley. And even Micah's not as crazy as Haley was at times. You make it work because the on-field results are so friggin' good. So do you want to pay Micah Parsons? Y for yes, N for no. Sound off in the comments section. Ecuador man AOG says, damn, 2/3 being released. Wright, Tolbert, SMH. We'll see if Tolbert gets cut. I would guess that does not happen. I do think there's a good chance Nahshon Wright gets cut, though. Maybe Mike Zimmer can save him, but the Cowboys a year ago were so desperate for cornerback play, and they were refusing to play Nahshon Wright and Kelvin Joseph. And they already cut Joseph. Wright, maybe Wright getting hurt last year kind of bought him some extra time, and then coming back eventually. I think there's a real chance he ends up getting cut. That one would not surprise me, and that one hurts because that's a top 100 pick that got nothing back on. At least Tolbert, you got a little bit, a couple of plays last year, and there's still more time. Man, Wright's a pretty disappointing pick. Food review. Dak, knock on wood, goes down around week 7. I assume this means like he doesn't actually go down, and that's what the knock on wood is for, because we never cheer for injuries, and I know Food Review does not do that. I just want to make it clear. Trey Lance plays well enough to consider keeping him. 10 games, 18 TDs, 8 picks. Which quarterback are you re-signing in free agency and for how much? That's a good question. That's a lot of picks, though. That's kind of a high pick ratio. Now, were they all his fault? Was it the normal ratio? Were there Noah Brown dropping first downs on 4th and 1, led to pick sixes again? Here's my issue. If you don't have a deal done with Dak by week 1, I don't know that he's going to re-sign with you. Because there's a real chance at that point, he's months away from being a free agent. 18 weeks away, 20 weeks away, 22 weeks away, whatever. So I would really need to see how Lance himself plays. But if it's they were not looking great in the first couple weeks and, it's just kind of okay play across the board, I think at that point, Lance probably merits some conversation there. He's also a free agent. Franchise tag would be super expensive. It's a really good question, Food Review. And I don't have a great answer for you, frankly. I know that's kind of a bad answer on a show, but I don't know. I think if it's not a deal done with Dak already by week 1, I don't think he's going to come back. Now, you can get the Tyler Guyton rookie jersey by going to chatsports.com/Guyton. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. That's chatsports.com/Guyton. There will be a clickable link over there in the bottom corner opposite me of the screen. Again, 60 is the number Guyton will be wearing, just like he did at Oklahoma. It is the official Fanatics NFL jersey. Get it in time for week 1. From Roy Williams, any solid 3 technique defense now we could trade for? If Osa gets hurt, we're screwed. That was kind of my issue. One of my, I think, still under-discussed issues. Obviously, we've discussed it, but I haven't seen much national conversation about it. This defense tack room sucks. It's not a good room. And most teams don't trade away solid 3 techniques. Now, maybe someone like Fidarian Mathis gets moved by Washington. They've got extra depth. I don't know if you'd see an intra-division trade there. You might monitor the roster cut-down time frame. Maybe someone from the UFL intrigues you, but they're coming off a lot of snaps in the spring. Their body tends to wear down there. Look, I think you're right, Roy. You got nothing behind him. You're going to play Chauncey Golston there a lot. He's fine, but he ain't an impact player and doesn't even fit in the Zimmer scheme. I think the defensive tackle depth or lack thereof is really troubling. From Martin, can Dallas trade for James Conner? Fun idea. I think Conner was really efficient last year. I actually like the OC there quite a bit with his scheme. But I also I don't see the likelihood of Arizona moving on from Conner. Yeah, they drafted Trey Benson. I think they want a committee in year 1. So before we get to week 1, will the Cowboys add another running back? 1 for yes, 0 for no in the comments section. Tyler, with Gilmore and Kurtz gone, who's going to defend the bigger and more physical wide receiver / tight end? Could we see more Juanyeh and Israel in those situations? When it comes to the receiver, I think it's pretty clearly Trayvon Diggs. Diggs is perfect in that bigger body receiver coverage role. I think that's an obvious fit there. Now, if Diggs goes down, killing Carson, maybe Mukuamu fits there. In terms of covering Curse, Juanyeh or the Curse tight end eraser role, right? Where Curse wasn't that good in that role last year. Juanyeh Thomas fits that mold. I think if you had to, you could play Donovan Wilson there. Maybe you try some DeMarvion Overshown in certain coverages. I think Marquise Bell's a great fit there. I think he was awesome in coverage in the box last year. I think that's an ideal role for him. We've got free Cowboys videos for you guys every single day, so do not miss out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. From Spencer, is Jake Ferguson underrated? From a national perspective, sure, probably. I think that's a reasonable answer for who the more underrated player is, relatively speaking. I'm looking at Pro Football Network's, as this will eventually load, their top 10 tight end rankings, or top 20 tight end rankings, I should say. I'm curious, where does Ferguson fall there? I mean, he's 11th. I feel like he's a clear-cut top 10 tight end. I thought I'm excited about Trey McBride, but Dallas Goedert didn't play that great last year. David Njoku, I think if we're not putting him in the top 10 conversation, yeah, I think he is top 10. Who do you think is the most underrated Cowboys player? Go from a national, local, fan perspective, whatever. Let me know in the comments section who you think the most underrated Cowboys player is. If we did not get to your question, I blame producer Chris because I take no responsibility for my own actions. Chris did not like that, but I'm kidding. You can always hit me up on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. My DMs are open. Please DM me because that way it's less annoying in-bio bots. I have a couple to respond to. I promise you I will.